You won't believe it, but a single cape in Minecraft can cost up to $40,000. And that's no joke. Over the 16 years of game's existence, many unique capes have appeared, each with its own history, rarity and price. Would you like to know how much capes are really worth in Minecraft? How can you get them? Which player has collected the most capes in history? How have some players tried to trick Mojang for rare capes? And why did a Minecraft developer almost lose his job because of a cape? I have the answers to all these questions. Watch till the end, there are plenty of surprises in store for you. All capes in Minecraft can be divided into categories, and personally, I would like to talk about one of the most interesting ones, unique personal capes, which are owned by only a few players. I was always particularly attracted to the so-called Turtle Cape. Its history is a true legend among fans. This cape was given to a player named Billy, who had a long and persistently asked Mojang to add turtles to the game. The community liked his idea so much that it was supported by the entire Reddit. At one point, Jeb wrote a post congratulating Billy on the fact that the unique cape with the turtle image would now be waiting for him in the Minecraft profile. Of course, such a cape immediately became an object of desire for collectors. The maximum amount ever offered to Billy for this cape reached $40,000, but he refused. Actually, besides Billy, this cape was spotted on 2 other players, Minecraft developers. However, it was only given to them for testing purposes and was later officially removed. Nevertheless, on some websites, such as an MMC, it is still displayed in their history, although it is no longer listed on their accounts. The Snowman Cape has one of the most unusual and funny stories in Minecraft community. Back in the beta version, Notch started adding splashes to the game, short phrases on the main screen. One of these phrases was "Bring me Ray Cox." For reference, Ray Cox is a British television host, best known as the face of MTV Europe in 90s. Apparently, Notch was a fan of his and decided to pay tribute in this way. As it turned out, Ray Cox's nephew, Turian, was a big fan of Minecraft. When he saw this phrase, he immediately called his godfather and told him about the Easter egg. Soon, a funny picture appeared on Reddit with the caption, "Notch, I cough Ray. How do I get him to you?" Notch didn't lose his sense of humor and replied, "Let him go, I'll give you anything you want." Duran casually demanded a personalized cape, and suddenly, Notch agreed. You may be wondering, what does the snowman have to do with this? The thing is, Ray's last name sounds very similar to the name of the prohibited substance, and snowmen are a slang for people who sell it. Just so you know, I didn't come up with this, Notch did. In the end, Duran really get a unique cape with a snowman on it, becoming the owner of one of the most unusual capes in Minecraft history. Valentine Cape has a very strange story. The thing is that one developer of Minecraft Dungeons was chatting in Minecraft Discord with one girl. Then she sent a friend request and invited him to her Minecraft server. This happened in the middle of an account migration. The girl with nickname LolFoxy2 asked for help. She had purchased an account but didn't have access to the linked mail. This developer offered to help and somehow approached tech support directly. He ended up migrating the account and giving her a rare cape. The problem is that he didn't realize how unique and valuable capes are in Minecraft. Just 20 minutes after activation, the cape was withdrawn because the developer violated Mojang internal rules. What happened to him next? It is unknown. His nickname never became public, but it is likely that he was reprimanded. Curiously, the same cape later appeared on another player, but it was quickly taken away from him as well. Despite this, the MMC website still states that the cape exists. In reality, this is just a display of history, who owned the cape and when. We'll talk about the price a little later. Recently, another mysterious cape appeared in Minecraft, Oxeye. Who would have thought, but it was also given out by accident. This cape was created specifically for the employees of Oxeye Game Studio, a studio co-founded by Jens Bergensten, better known as Jeb. At one time, Oxeye released a fairly successful game called Cobalt, and Jeb still wears a t-shirt with the studio's logo. It is this logo that is depicted on the cape. As I mentioned, the cape was released by mistake and withdrawn the very next day. I think this cape will be given to all Oxeye Game Studio employees. The next cape does not have an official name, but the community knows it as the Cheap Shot Cape. It looks almost identical to the Translator's Cape with one difference. The Japanese flag is depicted on the back. Its history dates back to September 2013, when the Tokyo Game Show was held. Part of the Mojang team, including Jeb, attended to the event. In fact, there was 2 meetings with the community, and oddly enough, the most significant one turned out to be a beer meeting. Yes, the developers invited the players to just have a beer with them. James York, known by the nickname Cheap Shot, screenshot helped organize it. As a token of gratitude for his help in organizing the meeting and for his hospitality, Jeb personally presented him with the unique cape. In fact, this was a case where the cape was literally handed over for a beer. However, it wasn't without drama. Sometime after receiving the cape, Chipshot was hacked. He received an email supposedly from Mojang's support. Everything looked real, but the sender used the domain Mojang.com instead of Mojang.com. As a result, his account was indeed hacked, but fortunately, Mojang helped him regain access and consequently keep one of the most unusual capes in Minecraft history. Not in terms of design, of course, but in terms of its lore. The DB Cape is perhaps the most unremarkable of them all, but it has a really curious story behind it. The cape belonged to Danny Baranovsky, a famous composer of electronic music, author of soundtracks for such games as Super Meat Boy, The Bandicoot of Isaac, and many others. Notch was a big fan of his work, and Danny himself was a big Minecraft fan. After a brief exchange of kindnesses on Twitter, Notch decided to thank musician by giving him a unique cape with the initials DB in honor of Danny Baranovsky. Everything was fine, but not for long. A couple of years later, Danny's account was hacked and sold for only $300. Mojang stepped in and gave him his access back, but the story didn't end there. The account was hacked several more times, and each time Mojang had to restore access to the owner. In the end, to stop this endless cycle, Mojang made a radical decision: remove the cape from the account. The last hacker who managed to gain access changed his nickname to Debug, and since then the DB Cape has remained just the part of the history. The cape called Millionth Customer is one of the most symbolic capes in Minecraft, and at the same time with a sad fate. It all started happily enough when the game reached the 1 million copies sold milestone. Jeb asked Notch to draw a special cape for the 1 millionth customer. Marcus agreed, and on the same day he personally wrote the lucky buyer's email, congratulating him on his purchase. A few years passed, and in 2016 the account fell into hands of hackers. However, 5 years later the story had a dark twist. The hackers somehow gained access to the account and resold it for the $3,000. But the buyer's joy didn't last long. Mojang found out about the hack and immediately froze the account. The saddest thing in this history, the Acronman 1 abandoned the game a long time ago and still has not restored access to his profile. The cape has not been deleted, but it is not available to anyone. It is just stuck in the suspended state on the frozen account. What about the birthday cape? It has interesting history too. It turns out that this cape was drawn a long time ago. Originally, it was going to be used as a gift for Minecraft developers on their birthday, but the idea was quickly shelved and forgotten for a long time. All that changed in 2021, when one of the developers of the official Minecraft website, under the nickname Great Pizzo, suddenly received this cape. No high-profile announcements or events, just picked it up and activated it for himself. It turns out that every Minecraft developer can theoretically give themselves a cape whenever they want, but curiously enough, no one else has received this cape since then, and it remains exclusively only to Great Pizzo. Prismarine Cape seems pretty controversial to me, not in terms of design, but in terms of how it was received. The thing is that the player under the nickname Dracula's shared on the Twitter his version of what should be the texture of the Prismarine block. Jeb noticed this and decided to give him a Prismarine Cape. As Jeb himself states, this cape was prepared long ago, but there was no suitable player. That is, yes, the player just drew his texture, it did not get into Minecraft, but he still got the cape. By the way, he was not hacked and the account is still active. The latest cape from this category is Spade Cape. Back in 2011, during the beta development of Minecraft, a guy called Mr. Messiah decided to take things into his own hands and created a mod that improved the lighting in the game. It was revolution. The mod became very popular, but at the same time useful. It got to the point where Notch approached him and asked if he could integrate it directly into the game, to which Mr. Messiah agreed. So for the most part, we have this man to thank for the cool soft lighting in the game. Strangely, he didn't get this cape until 4 years later in 2015, although when he gave permission, he immediately asked for it as a thank you. I don't know if it's worth remembering the story of the so-called Bacon Cape for the 100th time, but it's still worth mentioning, if only for the sake of thinking the box. In short, one of the players suggested Notch to add pigment to the game, and he liked the idea so much that he decided to reward the author with a unique cape with bacon. But as soon as other players found out about it, a wave of requests started, "Can I have one?" And Notch eventually changed his mind and took the cape away. Since then, the cape does not officially exist, and this is no sense in adding this cape to our list. What do we have in the end? Capes that only developers have can't be sold. If the account falls into wrong hands, Mojang will simply deactivate and freeze the account, so they have no price. In theory, we can assume their price will range from $5,000 to $10,000. The Valentine and Bacon Cape are not available. The Cape of the Millionth buyer sold for $3,000. The DB Cape was once sold for $300, but it is also unavailable. The other personal capes have never sold, and their owners have not committed on the prices offered to them. Except for the Turtle Cape, the maximum price was $40,000. How serious was the price? It's hard to say, but I think the real price of such rare capes would range from the $10,000 to $15,000. There are two more capes that were given out as a reward. The first is Scrolls. In 2011, Notch and other developers began creating a new card game with elements of strategy board games. In 2013, the game was released in open beta, and in 2014, to motivate players, Notch came up with a competition. Players who took first place in the weekly leaderboard 5 times in a row received a cape, and in 2015 a championship was held at nkin, and players who took first to fourth place also received the cape. From December 11 to 12, 2014, in honor of the game's official release, all Minecraft players temporarily received capes. This was intentional, but then the capes were taken away. The price of such a cape varies from $8,000 to $15,000. The second one is Cobalt. In 2016, Jeb and his studio Oxeye, which we talk about today, created a side-scrolling action game. It is very dynamic and is still available on Steam, so Jens created a competition where players had to create levels for the game. The winners received the key to activate the cape, which could be sold or activated by the winner. There were 4 such competitions, and there was a 5th, although this time it was a tournament for players, with the cape as the main prize. Due to the fact that more capes were awarded, the price of the cape varies from $5,000 to $10,000. There are only 4 types of volunteer capes. The first 2 are almost identical. The Translator Cape. The thing is, translating for Java Minecraft creates a community. Anyone can visit the website and help with translating the game or launcher. To avoid problems, the most active participant in the translation become proofreaders, a kind of moderators. They make sure that there are no problems, approve translations, and can generally communicate with the developers. Jeff first handed out capes in May 2012, when 29 lucky people received them. As it turned out, the formula was simple. The most active translators who had a Minecraft nickname in their profile description received the cape. Later, Jeb stopped giving them out because translators began deliberately mistranslating lines in the game. As far as I know, now even the most active proofreaders don't get these capes, and it's not clear why. The price of such a cape varies from $2,000 to $5,000. The second cape belongs to a Chinese translator. Only 3 people have it. The difference is minimal. On the back of a regular cape, there is a large letter T, while the Chinese one has a Chinese flag. Because of this, the price varies from $10,000 to $15,000. Then comes the Moderator Cape.
Did somebody say moderator?
Sorry, I couldn't resist that joke. There is a special website where every Minecraft player can report a bug they have found in one of the Minecraft editions. This website has helpers and moderators who keep order, help check bugs, and help users with problems. If you are very active, you can become a moderator and even get a cape for it. As far as I know, recruitment for moderators is closed and it is almost impossible to get it now. The price for such a cape varies from $3,000 to $7,000, but there is a still good chance that after the account is sold, it will be frozen. The most common cape in this category is Realms MapMaker. Every player with an active subscription to Realms in the Java edition get access to a variety of free maps. But who makes them? The community. Anyone can create a map, submit it for review, and receive a cape. But as always, it's not that simple. To get a cape for creating a map, the project must meet a number of criteria, and the review process itself can take several months. The maps themselves are divided into 3 categories: World Template 2 points, Inspirational Map 3 points, Adventure Map 4 points. To get a cape, you need to score at least 8 points. In the past, many players would team up and work on maps together so that all participants would get a cape. Some even bought spots, but Mojang quickly began to crack down on such schemes, and now such approaches no longer work. There have been cases where capes were confiscated after being revealed. The cost of these capes can vary from $500 to $1,500. There is a category of capes for Mojang or Microsoft employees. There are 4 types of capes associated with Mojang. The first is the classic brown Mojang Cape, which was given to studio employees from 2010 to 2015. Then, from 2015 to 2021, it was replaced by an updated design, the second version of the company cape. And starting in 2021 and continuing to this day, new employees are given a cape with the Mojang Studios logo. So even among Mojang employees, there are unique capes that cannot be obtained. As I said before, it is impossible to sell them, as they are all controlled. And if any suspicious activity is detected, the account will be frozen at best, and at worst, the cape will be taken away. But I think it's safe to assume that the price could range from $10,000 to $20,000. In the same category is the Xbox 360 cape, which was available exclusively to the developers of that edition, and only appeared in the Xbox 360 version. It is not impossible to estimate its value. There are currently 4 account-related capes. The first and most famous is the Migrator Cape. It was available to all Java players who purchased Minecraft before December 1st, 2020. After migrating accounts from Mojang to Microsoft, this cape was automatically awarded. In September 2023, the migration process was completed, and it became impossible to obtain the cape. Funnily enough, at the time, there were rumors and even leaks that there would be several capes, and they would be called Veteran. It was assumed that players would receive such a cape depending on how many years had passed since the purchase of the game. In the end, a universal cape was created for everyone, and its price can vary from $2 to $5. Next is the Vanilla Cape. It was given to all players who purchased Java and Bedrock Edition before June 6, 2022. This is because the editions were previously sold separately, and each cost about $25. In June of the same year, Java and Bedrock Edition began to be sold as single set for $30. So this cape is a kind of thank you for once buying 2 separate copies of the game. But here's the interesting thing. In 2015, every owner of the Java game could get Minecraft Windows 10 Edition beta for free. Later, the edition was transformed into Bedrock. Players who received Bedrock in this way were eligible to receive a cape. But there were a lot of players, so there were a lot of capes. And the price can vary from $5 to $10. The Valentine Cape has a funny history. It was originally designed for everyone who participated in the beta testing of Minecraft, but later the developers decided to give this cape to everyone who visits Bedrock Minecraft for the first time. Even now, anyone who visits Minecraft can get this cape for free. Since May 8, 2025, the cape has also been given out to Java accounts. That is, the price of this cape is $0. It has no value. But there was another funny story related to this cape. The fact is that someone was able to find an exploit to get the Mojang Studios cape for the Bedrock Edition. Everyone who managed to take advantage of this opportunity did indeed receive the cape. However, as soon as the developers found out about this, they replaced it with a cape with a picture of pancakes and the caption "Duplicate." In the Bedrock Edition, each cosmetic item has its rarity indicated. All capes have legendary rarity, while the duplicate has the most common rarity. The last cape in this category is Common, which is its actual name. Can you guess how rare this cape is? That's right, Common. This cape will be given to all players who log into the game with their Microsoft account at any time between May 6, 2025 and May 5, 2026. You've probably already figured out that it doesn't have much value, so its price is currently $0. What do you think was the first vote in Minecraft? If you said the mob vote in 2017, you're wrong. Back in 2011, there was a vote for Cape for Minecon. The vote took place on polldaddy.com and was participated in by 25,000 players. The red cape with face of a creeper won, but the cape that came in a second place was used for Minecon in 2012. Thus, the cape vote was the first serious community vote in Minecraft history. This brings us smoothly to the category of capes for physical events. At the moment, there are only 6 of them. There is not much to say about them. Everyone who attended this event received a cape. Of course, tickets were not free. The Minecon 2011 cape is very expensive. I was able to find the price at which the account is being sold, and the price without the discount is 5,595 euros. Minecon 2012 was last sold for 3,095 euros. Minecon 2013 was sold for 2,795 euros. But now you can buy it cheaper on eBay for $1,900. Minecon 2014 is the rarest because it doesn't exist. The event wasn't held that year. Minecon 2015 sold for 2,595 euros and Minecon 2016 for 3,995 euros. I even managed to find an old sale for $51, but I can be sure that this is real deal and not a fake. Offers appear from time to time, but they may not always be true. The latest cape at the moment is MC Experience. You can get it by visiting the Villager Rescue exhibition. It is held every 3 months in different countries. So far, it has been held in the US and England, and now they are in Canada. Today, anyone can either visit the exhibition or buy a key for the cape on various websites. Prices range from $70 to $100 on average. Okay, we've smoothly moved on to the capes from the virtual event category. Let's start with the Founder's Cape. During Minecraft Live 2019, anyone could get this cape completely free of charge. The cape was only available for Bedrock at the time. Many players did not have time to get the cape, so they somehow found a way to get it, let's say, illegally. The developers found out about this, and all illegal capes were removed from the accounts so that this would not happen again. The developers simply slapped a price tag on it, 10 million mine coins, which is equivalent to $55,000. In May 2025, the cape was transferred to Java, but this time a new exploit appeared. Using an Android device, it was possible to log into an account with a cape and then, within the same session, switch to another account that did not have a cape. When logging out of the system, the cape was temporarily displayed on the second account as well. For some reason, Mojang servers recognized that the account had a cape and transferred into the Java version, even though it was not saved in the Bedrock edition. It got so far that Mojang simply disabled the cape transfer server, and even those who was illegally obtained capes, such as MC Experience, could not transfer them. This lasted for about 2 weeks. It is not yet known whether the developers will remove the fake capes. As of today, they are all still available. This cape is now being sold for ridiculous amounts of money. The most I found was $7,000, although there are other prices, such as $120. In 2023, a Rainbow Cape was given out for free. It is interesting that it was unavailable in many countries and impossible to obtain. There is no exact price, but since it remains exclusive to Bedrock Edition, its price can vary from $20 to $50. In the same year, 2023, a vote was held for mobs. You could vote through the launcher, website or Bedrock server. For this, players received a Cherry Cape. However, initially only those players who voted on the Bedrock server received it, but a week later it was given to anyone else. There is no exact price, but accounts with this and other capes are selling for approximately $25 to $100. The Follower's Cape was a kind of experiment. It could be obtained by players who watched any Minecraft broadcast via TikTok app for about 3 minutes. Then they received a code that could be activated on the website. Because of this, the cape can still be purchased on the third-party sites, with prices varying on average from $50 to $100. The next experiment was the Purple Heart Cape, which could be obtained by watching any Minecraft broadcast on Twitch for about 10 minutes. The cape can still be purchased, with an average price of $5. In honor of Minecraft's 15th anniversary, anyone could get a cape. To do so, all you had to do was log into your account on the official website. I was able to find several offers for sale with an average price of $55. Again, that year there was another special cape called MCC. To get it, player had to complete a series of tasks on a special temporary server. Overall, it required a lot of grinding. Accounts with this cape are sold for $60. At the end of 2024, players had the chance to get a new Mojang Office Cape. To get it, you also had to go to a special temporary server and complete several tasks. But here's the strange thing. Initially, it was supposed to be given to anyone who bought a real cape from the official Minecraft store. But for some reason, this idea was quickly abandoned, and all mentions of it were deleted. People who were fooled and bought the cape in real life were given a refund and received it for free. But what about the digital cape? Its price ranges from $20 to $50. So far this year, 3 new capes have been released, not counting the common one, all in honor of the release of the Minecraft movie. The Iron Cape could also be obtained by completing tasks on a temporary Bedrock server. Its price is still very low at around $10. The other 2 capes had to be obtained by watching streams on TikTok and Twitch. Players received keys for doing so. Now anyone can buy these capes for around $3 each. In addition to the Scrolls Cape, there were other temporary capes. For example, Christmas, which was displayed for exactly 24 hours on December 25, 2010. Then there was a New Year, which was also displayed for 24 hours, but on December 31st, 2010. By the way, it's very interesting. It could be repeated now, otherwise we only get a texture for the chests. In general, they appeared only because many players often asked how to get a cape for themselves, because at that time there were only classic capes for Mojang employees. The last temporary cape was Xbox first anniversary. From May 9 to 2013, every player who owned the Xbox 360 edition saw this special cape on their character. This was how the developers decided to celebrate the first anniversary of the release of this edition. Did you know that there is a website that ranks Minecraft accounts based on the number of capes they own? Yes, right now you can see who has the most. Funnily enough, the leader of this ranking is the Mojang employee. He has 25 capes on his account, which is an absolute world record. Each of you can go to the website website, enter your nickname and find out where you rank. For example, I am currently in 3765th place, although I must admit, for some reason not all of my capes are displayed. But the fact that such a website exists is impressive in itself. It is also worth mentioning the so-called test capes. There are currently 5 of them, but they are impossible to obtain. They were created exclusively for testing the API. In fact, these capes do not even exist on Mojang servers in the full sense of the word, so it is impossible to estimate their value. The last category is joke capes. On April 1st, 2023, the developers released a so-called voting update, which occasionally featured silly and funny votes. One of these was a vote for capes. There were 6 options in total: awesome, blanc, no circle, nyan, squid and veterinarian. A funny detail was that the word cape was intentionally misspelled as cape in the game. Of course, it is impossible to get these capes for your account, which means they have no value either. Well, in this video I tried to answer the question of how much capes really cost in Minecraft. As you can see, the oldest and rarest capes are very expensive, while the new ones are very cheap. But everything may change in a few years when it is no longer possible to obtain a cape. How many capes do you have? Do you plan to sell them someday or keep them as an integral part of your history? Write your answers in the comments. While you wait for the next video, check out these ones. They're just as interesting. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash that like button and hit the notification bell. See you soon, because we're discovering Minecraft in a whole new way.